this measuringhistory.com tutorial, how to use outer planet waves to interpret the past, present, or future, will demonstrate that because a wave, which is basically a imaginary measuring device, I'm not talking about any physical waves coming from space, from the outer planets. These are outer planet waves we're talking about here. Because the waves are something that repeats over time, that is repeatable, that is calculable using an astrological ephemeris, either via computer or in print. We can easily track the different frequencies of the times that outer planets are conjunct, and then subsequently at each quadrature alignment, 90 degrees, 180 degrees, 270 degrees, and 360 degrees. As you'll see, each wave has the same form. So whether it's a Neptune-Pluto wave of 495 years, or a Uranus-Neptune wave of 172 years, or a Saturn-Pluto wave, which varies between 31 and 38 because of Pluto's eccentricities, the structure of the wave is always the same. There's always going to be 0, 90, 180, 270, 360, and they always have the same relationship. The angles have the same relationship across time to the overall wave, and then to every other quadrature alignment. So basically, with one stretch of time, say we're talking about a Uranus-Pluto wave, 1966, 2101, it's important because that wave is quote-unquote very active now with the Uranus-Pluto lower square of 2010, 2012, 2014 really. So when we're looking at that wave is going to have the same relationship to the beginning of the wave, to the midpoint, to the end of the wave, as every other outer planet wave in history. So you can see that it can take many different forms, but all the waves are standard measuring devices. And as we see with the Saturn, what we have is Saturn's orbit of 29.5 years compared to the human growth cycle, and they happen to be really close to each other. At 14, for instance, is puberty. It's when humans reach full reproductive capacity. Of course, that doesn't mean that a person is mature. It just means that they've reached one aspect of their humanity. So because Saturn has this orbit of 30 years, I call it the people's planet, because basically 30 years is a generation, no matter what if you're talking hunter-gatherers who have an average lifespan of 37 years, or modern humans who have a lifespan of about 80 years, give or take 5 or 10, depending on the location. So basically 30 years is a generation, and at the halfway point, the person, whether it's a male or a female, now for the Saturn to human growth comparison is going to vary if it's a female versus a male because they have different concerns. But nonetheless, it's standard. Whether we're talking hunter-gatherer or Roman or now, at the age of 15, a standard person should be able to reproduce. They should have most of their adult features. Their voices are beginning to change. And so the wave, as you can see, it's not just getting to that point. A person just doesn't turn 15 and just doesn't go into puberty. There's a development process that goes on. And so we not only have to look at the landmarks, that's what the Saturn to human growth diagram is basically tell us. We not only have to look at the landmarks, but we have to look at what happens between the landmarks. So that the quadrature alignments represent what happens, for instance, between 0 degrees and 90 degrees, which in the case of humans is between birth and the time of 6 and 7. We see at the age of 6 or 7 is what we're measuring is the development between birth and the age of 6 or 7. And so really the concept is just really very easily transferable to the outer planets. The outer planets have the same dynamic, outer planet waves have the same dynamic as we see in the Saturn wave. As we see with the lunar phases, it's the same relationship between the sun and the moon, as it moves through time. All we're doing is copying that relationship across time, using that relationship as a measuring device, which we can see later. History does follow along the path of quadrature alignments. It's really amazing. I know it's not believable at first, but when it's demonstrated, it's very, very real that the quadrature alignments mirror, or history actually mirrors, the quadrature alignments of the outer planets. If you like that, if you like these videos, please subscribe. And of course, also make sure you regularly visit the Waves blog, on measuringhistory.com. All you have to do is type that into your browser. And of course, Measuring History on Facebook. And thanks for watching.